Hello, this is Yashasvi, and my presentation is about reader-writer lock pattern. So here's a outline of my presentation. First is introduction, then use of reader-writer lock, then read lock, write lock. I'll be explaining the flowchart of that, and then the class diagram of the demo example, then the thread diagram for reader-writer, and then the locking pattern rules for reader-writer lock patterns. So what is reader writer lock actually? It is a thread which will have access to write, and multiple threads will have access to read simultaneously, but then no thread should be writing at the same time. Also, it is used to improve the performance. What is the use of reader writer lock pattern is if I'm presenting some example, like if there is a scenario when the thread will complete writing and reader and writer both at the same time waiting, then reader will have access first instead of writing. So whenever both reader and writer are waiting, then first preference will be given to reader, not the writer. However, mutually exclusive will be used if the resources is always being used, it is always writer, and vice versa in reader. If the resource which is always there to read from, then thread synchronization is not required. So if you want to use a huge number of reader thread and very few number of writer thread, then reader writer lock will be very useful. So here is a flowchart for read lock, like how read lock happens. So for acquiring the read lock, if there is any writer holding the write lock, then it will yield at some point, and if there is no writer holding the write lock, then it will state the current reader state to 1. Also, if there is a writer holding the write lock, then it will set the current reader state to 0. Otherwise, the lock has been acquired in the read only mode, and then it will return the value. Similarly, in the write lock, for acquiring the write lock, if it will say it will check whether it is gas value or not. If no, then another writer must be holding the write lock. If yes, then it will scan the reader state, and if after the scanning the reader state, it will check is there any reader in state 1. If no, then writer lock has been successfully acquired, and if yes, then it will stop and it will retry only the reader state is 1. So this is how the write lock occurs. Now this is the class diagram. So I have created the program for 5 threads, in which 2 threads are writer thread and which tries to write the data, and 3 are the reader thread which tries to read the data by concept of read write lock pattern. So this is the class diagram for that. So I have created 3 sets, first for data reader, then data writer, and data for both the reader and writer. So this is the reader writer thread. If there is 3 threads who are holding the lock pattern, then it will not pass through, same as the write lock. So once reader is finishing reading the data, then it will go to the write lock, and it will acquire the position. So the rules for reader writer lock pattern is, if there is no lock for writing in the read write lock, and if there is no thread who might have requested a write lock, so there will be multiple threads can lock the reading lock. If there is no threads that are writing and reading, then either of the 2 threads can lock the writing. So with any synchronization thread mechanism, we should ensure that no thread bypass the locking. So this is about the rules. These are my preference, and now I'll show the demo of my project. Yeah. So here is the so as I explained in my project, that I have used 5 threads, in which 2 is the writer threads and 3 are reader thread. So in this program there is concept of thread, so there is no specific sequence in the output. So every time the output would be changed. So So all reader thread would read the information no matter what sequence they will follow, but they read the data and the output would show like this. Like here you can see this is for writing. I'll show for reading the data. So like reader 1 is reading in the Java language, like that I just give the output. Then same with the writer thread. So once the reader has done finished with the reading task, then the writer thread will come over. So as per the concept of write log pattern, if reader is finishing, then the writer. If both at the same time are waiting in the queue, then reader will give the preference. So like that, it will first read and then the writer will give the preference, and again read, then it will give preference to writer. Like that it will happen in the reader. Then for writer, once the writer will be finished with the with writing the data, then reader will be given the preference. And this is the third thread, just for the data I just created for that. So once the writer has finished, then the reader will be given the access for that. So I have used the concept of thread here. So this is about my demo. Thank you so much.